What's going on, guys? Today I want to dive into something that might seem counterintuitive at first, how limiting yourself as a photographer can actually push your creativity. I know, it sounds strange, but trust me, it works. Let's break it down. Look, as photographers, we often think having more options, more gear, more time, more locations is the ultimate goal. But sometimes all of that freedom can actually overwhelm you. It's like walking into a buffet and not knowing what to eat because there's too much to choose from. By imposing some boundaries, you actually force yourself to focus, and that's when the magic happens. So for example, let's say you only shoot with one lens for an entire month, a 35mm. At first, it feels limiting, feels strange, it feels weird, but over time, you get used to it, you start to adapt, you start seeing compositions differently, you start seeing different subjects, you start thinking creatively. Or maybe you give yourself just 1 hour to shoot in a specific location, so a time constraint. That pushes you to think fast and be more intentional with every shot since you don't have all of the time in the world to be out doing photography. These boundaries force your brain to problem solve in ways that it wouldn't have if you had all of the time and tools in the world. I can speak from my own personal experiences, which is what I'm going to be doing and kind of basing this entire video off of. But whenever I put these boundaries and constraints on myself, I definitely feel more creative. I feel like I adapt to the situation, and I definitely feel like I become a better photographer. So I'll actually give you guys an example from my own work and my own experience. There was a time I only used an 85mm lens for street photography. I actually made a video about this day. You guys could check it out. I'll probably link it somewhere on this video, but I couldn't rely on my zoom to get closer since it was an 85mm prime lens. I had to physically zoom with my feet. I had to get creative with angles and my compositions because if any of you have shot street photography with an 85mm lens before, you know how zoomed in that is. It's pretty difficult to really capture everything you want in a scene since it is just so hard to fit everything into that frame. But that constraint and that using the 85mm prime lens completely changed how I approached my photography. I really adapted to the situation, I really thought outside of the box, and I got some great photos. And honestly, using those constraints really made my work better. So another limitation and constraint that I put on myself whenever I'm out doing street photography is I use a time constraint. I usually only go out downtown for 2 hours, and once that 2 hours is up, I pack up, go home, and look at my photos and basically be happy with what I got. This kind of helps me be more intentional with my photos. I know exactly where I want to go, I'm not really wasting any time, and I get a lot of great photos because of that. Another constraint, or another two constraints that I do at the same time as this time constraint, is I only use one lens and one body when I'm out doing street photography. So these three constraints all combined together really push me to be creative and think outside of the box, and it's also helped me find my own unique style as a photographer. So that kind of segues into my next point. When you limit your options, you start to notice patterns in how you shoot. Maybe you gravitate towards certain lighting conditions or types of scenes. I know that from my own experience, whenever I'm using my prime lenses, especially my 85mm or my 15mm, I really shoot differently. I pick different compositions, I take different photos, and I feel like I'm taking more unique photos and more creative photos whenever I'm using these constraints. These patterns, once you start to notice them, can actually help you discover your own unique style. I know for me, it has really helped me find my own style, and that's really invaluable as a photographer. So I would definitely recommend putting some constraints on yourself if you are really struggling with finding your own unique style in photography with your artwork, because I feel like it can really help push you, be creative, and really help you find and discover it. So next time, whenever you're feeling stuck or uninspired, or feel like you're just in a rut, try setting some constraints for yourself. Use one lens, shoot in one location, stick to a time constraint. You'd be surprised how much creativity you can unlock in yourself. That's pretty much all I've got to say for today. This is a different video than what I usually make, kind of a discussion about a topic that I wanted to talk about. You guys can kind of take away whatever you want to from this video. I'm just glad that you guys stayed till the end. Let me know in the comments if you guys want to see more videos like this. Also, let me know if you guys have used any constraints in the past and what has worked for you. I'd love to hear it. Also, make sure to leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it. And if you're new here, make sure to subscribe. It helps me out a lot as a creator. Also, make sure to check out my social media pages where you can find my photography and all of my latest work. Those can be found at bmintram. Anyways, that's it for the video. I'll catch you guys in the next one.